Hi everyone, and welcome to this masterclass. Today we're going to talk about the anger. Anger as an innate emotion. So for this masterclass, we will go through some of the key elements regarding anger so that you have more clear understanding of what anger is and what is the purpose of anger and how do you contain anger in your daily life. And then we will go into the short practice. So I just want to mention that while you listen to this video, make sure that you are not disturbed, that you are fully present with it, especially for the practice in the end. For the practice, just take some situation maybe where you feel that angered you. Take something simple. Don't go into when I was a child, my mother never was there for me, or don't go into something that is maybe too deep and too traumatizing, because especially when it comes to some of these early wounds, for that we really do need a presence of a certified therapist or somebody who knows how to be with these moments, with these places that arise. And of course, if you feel that you want to go deeper into your anger and explore your anger, suppression of anger, expression of anger, and just being with the anger, I will leave you the link in the description of this video where you can book a free intro session with me. Okay, so anger. As I said, anger is an innate emotion. It means that we are born with anger. It serves a purpose in our life. And the purpose of anger is to know when our boundaries have been crossed. So if somebody is too much in our space, if somebody is pushing us, or we feel just that our boundaries are crossed in any way. Now, we all have boundary that is very unique and individual for us. And anger is there to show us where is that boundary. Where do I stop and you begin? So we don't go into symbiotic relationships with other people, but we're clear, we understand, this is me, this is my energy, and there is you. And if you're too much in my space, if you have some expectations that I cannot meet and you are demanding or something, then I get angry. But as a child, in the first 2 years, we are in symbiosis with our mom. So we feel everything that she feels. So if she has difficulties expressing anger, and if her boundaries are crossed, that can also influence our relationship to anger afterwards. And that is why it is important to understand your triggers. What triggers your anger? For example, you're in a marriage and your husband doesn't do the dishes in the evening, and that angers you. For you, that is crossing of your boundaries. Get to know that trigger. What is that connected to? What do you feel is happening? How is he crossing your boundaries? Because then you need to do the dishes. You're doing everything by yourself. And then if you could allow yourself not go into blame, but rather be with that fiery feeling that awakes in you, and see what can you do with that. Where does this come from? Because we often, especially when there is suppressed anger, we go into the blame. And I will also share what is the difference between anger and rage, because anger is innate emotion. And when we get angry and when we share our anger with our loved ones, with people we are close to, we are actually open for communication. We actually want to connect. It is also a way of sharing love, because we are teaching other person about us. We're teaching them, this is my boundary, and I want to be in this relationship, and I want to teach you where my boundary is so that you can respect it. But that also goes two ways. I also want to learn about where your boundary is. What are your triggers? What crosses your boundaries? And then we can see where can we meet. So then we don't react to each other. We rather respond to each other. So we don't react when our husband doesn't do the dishes. We see how can we respond. Okay, this triggers me. How can I open myself up and go into the communication so that we can grow as a couple? Now, I know that this maybe triggers you, what I've just said, and that is totally okay, because we know so little about anger, and especially for women. I don't want to go into gender generalizations, but I feel it's at least my generation, maybe new generations, not as much. We were taught to be good girls, and good girls don't get angry. Good girls don't behave like that, or whatever the input was. And for us, maybe it takes effort, it takes a lot of development within to allow ourselves to even feel anger. Now, before going into how to express our anger and communicate our anger, we need to allow ourselves to feel our anger. And to be honest, we often don't feel anger. What we feel is rage. Now, let me explain this. The difference between anger and rage is that rage comes from fight or flight. In other words, it comes as a sympathetic response, the response of our sympathetic nervous system. It means that we feel threatened and that we react. We don't respond. We feel threatened. We go into the blame. We have this rush of energy, of this fiery rage, where we feel that we have been wronged and we are not grounded. Rage is not emotion, it's a state of arousal. And we just need to feel that release. Rage comes suddenly. We're triggered. With rage, as a fight or flight response, we lose connection to ourselves. So we are not in contact with ourselves, and we're also not in contact with another. And often after outbursts of rage, we tend to feel shame and guilt. And we don't feel like we can own what happened. We feel like it overwhelms us, it consumes us, as if this entity of rage inhabits our body and it's out of our control. So when we see that our husband hasn't done the dishes, we react, we can't handle it. We are so angry that we're literally bursting. But anger, on the other hand, is grounded. It's emotion. We are aware of how we feel. Underneath anger is usually strength and assertiveness. And underneath rage is usually fear and often sadness that comes from shame. And now the question would be, why do we suppress our anger? Why weren't we taught that anger is an okay emotion? Why didn't we learn about anger? Well, usually it's because people who we grew up with also didn't know much about their anger. And sometimes, especially as a little child, we feel, it's almost existential. It is existential. We depend on our parents or our caretakers. And if some emotion is not welcomed, or perhaps even punished, we tend to disconnect from that because we want to be whatever we feel that we need to be so that we are accepted. Because we literally depend on those who accept us or not. Okay, so take a couple of deep breaths. We are going through some things here. And this is maybe the moment to reflect and pause a video here and ask yourself, how did my parents react when I would get angry? How was anger expressed in my childhood? Was it suppressed? Was there passive aggression? Or were there outbursts of rage? Now, when I was growing up, I thought that I could easily get angry. But then after I realized that what I was feeling was not anger, it was rage. And it took me years to learn about anger and the difference between rage that comes as a trigger, that comes as this outburst of my sympathetic nervous system, and anger that is grounded. It comes from this ventral vagal state where I'm feeling myself. And I will tell you more about my story, but I just want to address one important thing for this topic, and that is passive aggression. When it comes to passive aggression, we are usually so disconnected from our anger that we are not aware of it. But anger as energy is still there, so it finds its way. And in passive aggression means that we are accidentally doing things. So, for example, we break something, or we come to visit a friend who we never set boundaries. She always crosses our boundaries, and then accidentally we break something of hers. And it's our way of expressing anger. Anger as energy is active and alive. And even though we feel that we can disconnect from it, we can't. It haunts us. It comes. It comes in a form of shadow also. Anger can often be, very often, in the shadow. And I think I already mentioned that in one of my videos, but I will mention it again. I remember that I was triggered so much by some men who seemed aggressive. I was afraid of them. And as a woman who is not too tall, or not too strong, I felt like, oh, they could hurt me, and they seemed so aggressive. I was afraid of what I thought was their aggression. I was actually afraid of my own aggression. And I would perceive them as these big bad wolves that would chase me and hurt me. It was my projection. It was my shadow. But then as I started exploring this anger, I realized that it was actually my energy. And once I integrated that energy back, it came as this strong, grounded she-wolf. And the wolf has been an incredible symbol that was aggressive, but also nourishing. So that energy was not at all negative as my mind perceived it. It was actually a strong will, a strong resource inside of me that knows how to say no, that knows how to set boundaries, that knows how to be with myself, that knows how to nourish me and take care of me, because setting boundaries is self-care. It's one of the most important things you can do to yourself. This she-wolf was almost like a mothery symbol when it was integrated. It was such a beautiful, wild creature, and I'm so fascinated by wolves. It's such magnificent animal. And then once you have that archetype, it could be in a form of an animal or maybe another creature or mythical being, whatever. When you work with that, that brings such a tremendous inner understanding of who you are, and understanding that you're so much more than your ego and your personality, and that there's so many potentials of who you can be and who you are. And everything that fascinates you, or maybe that you're afraid of, does not have to be disembodied. And I don't know, it just makes this life so much more precious. Some of the things that we see, that we observe, that we long for are already within us. We just need to learn how to own them and how to embody them. And that's why we're here today also. There is also another thing, what is important to mention when it comes to projected anger. Usually when we are disconnected to anger, we are projecting it into the outside world, like I was, what I explained with my own personal story. And we also tend to see the world black and white. So we see other people, they wronged me, they did this to me, and I'm angry because you justify your emotion. But then if you don't know how to channel that anger, it can become a sort of like a circle of negativity. So it's like a negative circle that feeds on itself. So we want to feel that anger because that energy is alive and vibrant, but we're not allowing ourselves to feel it. So it's kind of like as we unconsciously want to see that anger outside of us. We want to be triggered just so that we could feel that pleasure of hating, maybe of being angry, of, I mean, that's where you get like all the internet trolls. They enjoy this negativity. So these are basically people who don't know how to really properly channel that anger. And first, in order to channel your anger, you must know how to contain anger. You must understand, you must feel the anger, embody it, and be with it, and smell it, sniff it, understand what is this emotion. And then after that, how do I channel my anger? What do I do with it? You can make a conscious choice. But what we said about rage, when it comes to rage, we don't make a conscious choice. But the more we get to know our anger and the more we own it, less we project it and disconnect from it, less we will have these outbursts of rage because we will no longer feel as threatened. Basically, we're afraid of our own anger, of our own strength. Feel into that. We're afraid of our own strength. And once we learn how to be with our anger, it will be easier also to be with love that we feel, with joy, because we will have this inner protector. And we will feel safe to be vulnerable. We wouldn't feel that we are attacked all the time or that somebody's doing something against us, but we would be present. We would know that we have this strong wolf or a dragon that protects us and that we can open up. And I actually want to share one other experience. As I was working with my anger, the she-wolf evolved into a dragon. And dragon is such a beautiful archetype when it comes to anger because it is so strong and it is so grounded and it breathes fire. And anger can be such a fiery emotion. And when I felt this energy of dragon inside of me, it was like a whole nother level of anger, I have to say. I was feeling so strong. I feel like I'm missing a word to express exactly what I was feeling. But it was something even deeper than the anger. It was like this primordial state of being, of presence, of clarity, of just being full of myself. And that dragon is threatening others. People are afraid of dragon, but it's actually a very wise creature. So that wisdom and strength gave me that stability and ability to really stand in my strength, to really stand in my magnificence, so to say. And yes, dragon is often portrayed as a negative creature that needs to be murdered, that we need to face our dragon. And yes, we need to face ourselves. Dragon is here to serve us on that journey, to face ourselves and to face all of these projections that we have onto the outside world. We don't even see that it is ourselves disowning us. Once we stop disowning ourselves and allow us to be everything that we are, and when I say everything, I mean everything. We are not just rainbows and butterflies. We have many different parts of us. Some of them are painful, some of them are really nasty. And once we own them, then we can stand in that strength of a dragon. And that's beautiful. That's like another level of being. Maybe dragon is not connected to anger in your case, but it's such a beautiful primordial archetype. And yes, once we have that protection of a dragon, then we can allow others to meet our inner unicorn or a princess or our essence or open, vulnerable heart. And I feel this is now the time where we should go into the practice. Close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths. And allow yourself to just breathe and just let go everything that we have talked about. Maybe this conversation already brought some feelings and emotions. Just allow that. And find a way to ground yourself, to find your center. Whatever that means, your body already knows, just notice it and follow it. Where is my center? And breathe. And as you breathe, invite into your imagination the energy of your anger. And just notice what comes up. It could be a creature, mythical. It could be an animal. It could be yourself. And just invite that archetype that can help you navigate your anger. And just notice what comes without any expectations. Just embrace whatever is there. And observe that image. What is it like? How does it look like? Get to know it. And just release any judgment you may have toward it. Just know that it's that image, that symbol, that archetype that is there, that creature, that part that can support you on this journey. And breathe. Now is the moment, with this creature by your side, to invite the anger into your body. Remember a situation, or if you already feel it, how is your anger structured in the body? And breathe. And just observe it. Stay with yourself. Don't go into thought patterns. Don't go into expression. Just observe it. How does it feel in your body? We're not going into the story of it. He did this to me, she did that to me. Just observe, how do I feel in my body when I'm angry? How do I know that I'm angry? And whatever you do, understand, who are you angry with? How can you direct that anger towards someone concrete? Even if you feel that you're maybe angry with life or with yourself, it's very important to know that we are in fact angry with someone. Who are you angry with? If we don't express anger when we need it, we feel that we may be angry with ourselves. But we're always angry. Anger starts with somebody else. Who are you angry with? And allow that creature that is there, that archetype, to show you. And just breathe and notice, what would you do to this person in your imagination? And don't be afraid of that, because the purpose of imagination is energetic release from your body. So notice the image of, maybe you would punch somebody, maybe you would hit somebody, maybe you would burn somebody, maybe you would murder somebody. Whatever comes, just notice, how does that feel in your body? I'm kicking somebody with my leg. How does it feel in your legs? And just notice that release that comes with it. So we're not here to hurt anyone. We are here to release that energy that is inside of us, swirling and poisoning us. And just in your imagination, be creative in this moment and do what you never dared to do, and feel that release. Feel that release in your belly, in your throat, in your shoulders. Notice, where do you hold this anger, this tension? And release it in this imagination. just keep on going until you feel that relaxation. And in your imagination, how does this make you feel? And feel the feelings you have inside of you. And if you need some more time, that's okay. We're not in a hurry. So you're not doing anything with your body. You're not standing. You're not kicking. You're imagining. And as you imagine, feel that connection to your body. Feel that release in your body as you scream and kick and whatever it is that you're doing. Feel that release. Feel that release. Keep on going. If you feel tension somewhere in the body, use that body part in your imagination as well. Feel that freedom of release. Free yourself. You don't need to hold this energy anymore. And in this moment, if it resonates, see if you can invite and embody that archetype that was there. And allow that archetype to also support you in this release. Allow that release. And feel that connection to yourself. Feel your ground. Know that you are not losing your ground as you are allowing this discharge. And allow that archetype to gently guide you into the completion of this embodied imagination. And know that you can always come back to this practice whenever you feel like. If you feel that this was overly triggering, I highly recommend that you reach out to me and that you book that session with me. As I said, I'm offering a free intro session, so this is available. I am here for you. And thank you for being here. And I hope that this brought relief and rest. And as we complete with this session, allow that sense of relief. And thank you so much for being here. And I will see you in the next video.